Haakon Sverresson was king of Norway from 1202 to 1204. Biography. Haakon was born as the second illegitimate son of the future king Sverre, then a Faroese adventurer. Historian P. A. Munch suggested that Haakon III's mother could have been Astrid Rosdatter, daughter of Bishop Ro in the Faroe Islands, but this has not been supported by later historians. The Civil War period of Norwegian history lasted from 1130 to 1240. During this period there were several interlocked conflicts of varying scale and intensity. The background for these conflicts were the unclear Norwegian succession laws, social conditions and the struggle between different aristocratic parties and between church and king. There were then two main parties, firstly known by varying names or no names at all, but finally condensed into the parties of Bagler and Birkebeiner. The rallying point regularly was a royal son, who was set up as the leader of the party in question, to oppose the rule of king from the contesting party. Sverre and Haakon were leaders of the Birkebeiner party. Haakon is first mentioned as one of the leaders of his father's armies in a battle against the Bagler in Oslo in 1197. Subsequently he is mentioned several times as taking part in his father's wars against the Bagler. On his deathbed his father, who died on the 9th of March 1202, declared that he had no other son alive than Haakon. He also wrote a letter to Haakon advising him to settle the long-standing dispute with the church. When the news of Sverre's death reached Haakon and the Birkebeiner assembled in Nidaros, Haakon was first taken as chieftain by the Birkebeiner. The same spring he was taken as king at the Thing in Nidaros. The same spring the Norwegian bishops, who had been in exile in Sweden and Denmark and had supported the Bagler, returned to Norway and made a settlement with Haakon. It seems likely that he gave in to most of the demands. Norway was released from the interdict it had been placed under during the reign of Sverre. Haakon is said to have been on friendly terms with the farmers and the common people, and the Bagler party soon lost much of its support. In the autumn of 1202, the Bagler king Inge Magnusson was killed by the local farmers of Uppland and the Bagler party in Norway was dissolved. A new Bagler pretender, Erling Steinvik, soon appeared in Denmark, but declined to renew the fighting, as he saw little chance of succeeding against Haakon. Haakon was thus the undisputed ruler of the country. Haakon appears to have had a troubled relationship with his father's queen, Margareta Eriksdotter. After Sverre's death, Margareta attempted to return to her native Sweden with her daughter by Sverre, Christina. Haakon's men forcibly separated her from her daughter, as he wanted to keep her at his court. Subsequently, Margareta seemingly settled with Haakon and went to his court. During Christmas in 1203, Haakon fell ill after a bloodletting, and on the 1st of January 1204 he died. His death was suspected as poisoning and his stepmother Margareta was suspected of the crime. In the end she had one of her men undergo a trial by ordeal on her behalf to prove her innocence, but the man was badly burned. This was taken as proof of her guilt, and she had to flee back to Sweden. Haakon Sverresson was not married, and at his death no heirs were known. He was therefore succeeded by his 4-year-old nephew Guttorm Sigurdsson. But after his death a woman, Inger of Varteig, whom Haakon had taken as a concubine for a time in 1203, appeared at the Birkebeiner court with an infant son who she claimed was Haakon's son. The child had been born in present-day Ostfold after the death of the putative father. The boy, named Haakon after his father, later became King Haakon IV. In the summer of 1218, Inger underwent a successful trial by ordeal in Bergen to show the paternity of her son. During Haakon's brief reign, he managed to release Norway from the Church's interdict, and end the civil wars, at least for a time. Whether the peace would have lasted if he had been allowed to live is impossible to say. As it turned out, his early death sparked a renewal of the fighting, as the Bagler pretender Erling Steinveg in a matter of months gathered an army and went to Norway to claim the throne. Haakon was buried in the old cathedral in Bergen. The cathedral was demolished in 1531, and the site is today marked by a memorial. Our main sources to Haakon's life are Sverresson and the Bagler sagas, both written shortly after the events, in the 13th century. Ancestry. Bibliography. Carl Johnson, translator J. Stefton. The Saga of King Sverre of Norway. Clanic Press. ISBN 1897853491. Sturla Thortharsson. Translation to English by G. W. Dasent. The Saga of Haakon and a fragment of the Saga of Magnus with appendices. London. Finn Hodnebo and Amp. Halvard Majoroy. Translator Gunnar Pedsen. Soga om Baglera og Birkebeiner. Det Norsk Samleget, Oslo. ISBN 82-521-08911.